You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
It's Oh Behave with Arden Moore, the show that teaches you how to have harmony in the household with your pets. Join Arden as she travels coast to coast to help millions better understand why cats and dogs do what they do. Get the latest scoop on famous faces, their perfectly pampered pets, and who's walking who in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails, garner great pet tips, and have a doggone fur-flying fun time. So get ready for the pause and applause as we unleash your Oh Behave host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome to the Oh Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Do you think that doing one single act of compassion won't make a difference? Well, our special guest today will convince you otherwise, especially for pets. She's on a campaign for one person, one pet, one purpose. And yes, she's made you laugh in the movies like The Ugly Truth, and she's done some double duty as a star and producer of Life as We Know It. But she's here today to inspire all you listeners with a can-do call to action to better the lives of pets. I want you all to please give pause and applause to Emmy Award winner and Oscar-nominated actress, Katherine Heigl. Hey!
Hi, I love you. I love that you just introduced me as Oscar-nominated. That's fantastic. However,
I'm going to nominate. I am clairvoyant. Did you know that? I think it was Golden Globe, right? Maybe I can't remember. But you're a star, girl. You're a star. Well, you know,
thank you.
all these Emmy Awards and buzz aside, to me, I think your biggest starring role is truly being a best friend to pets. And that's why you're here on the show, and we want to get right into, and I want you to please unleash the great news about the new campaign you and your mother have unleashed. I guess it's called Just1Pet.
It is. It's called, the campaign is called, well, the product is called Just One. And what my mother, Nancy, and I did was about a year ago decided we wanted to come up with a line of products for animals that would help us fund the foundation we started in my brother's name, I think about 3 years ago, that is an animal advocacy foundation. And when we had become aware that there was such a pet overpopulation problem and that there were so many healthy, adoptable companion pets being put down in the shelters just because there's not enough room, we started trying to fund programs that would help, that would alleviate this somehow. And so we started funding spay and neuter programs and transport programs and education programs, and they're starting to work. It's actually starting to sort of make a difference, and we felt like we needed more funding because we're kind of running out of funds. And we needed some help, and we know, I think it's 62% of all American households have pets. And so we know there's a huge majority of people out there who care and love their animals. And if made aware like we were, that there are a lot of other animals out there that are homeless and in need, would want to help, would want to be part of the solution. And we came up with the concept for Just One because, just like you said, the idea is, just one person does one small act of kindness. That's when change can happen. And we felt like, okay, if we develop this pet collar that is not only, good looking and people will like it fashion-wise, but that is durable and has this great quality to it that it's completely cleanable, which if you have pets, it's really annoying. When their collars just get so grungy and disgusting. So it has all these sort of great features, but the best part of it is that proceeds from the purchase will go towards funding these programs and helping homeless pets and solving a problem that is actually solvable.
I have a husky golden retriever. Can you say, mush, mush? So I think this collar would be a good one because I'm looking at it. It supports up to 300 pounds. That's a lot of pulling, And it's very stylish, and I think it'll make a difference. I love the picture with you and that dog with the collar. And it's easy, listeners. It's just the number one and the word pet.com. You made it simple, Katherine.
Yeah, we tried to make it really simple so that everyone could really easily find it. And it is, something that it's been a really fascinating process to be a part of developing this. And, we worked with a great marketing team and a great promotional team to just develop something everyone felt passionate about. And, I have no idea. I don't know what consumers are looking for or what people really want. I just know what I wanted, and I know what I thought would look great on my dogs. And so everyone has worked so hard to sort of create the best product we could so that we could stand behind it and be proud of it. And they just came in the other day, and the marketing team brought them over, and it was the most thrilling moment. It was so rewarding. And I just put them on all my dogs, and I'm like, this is fantastic. We're here. We're about to be, doing what we set out to do. It's really exciting.
Well, it's definitely a family affair. When I went on your site, I'm not going to scare you by singing, but your husband, Josh Kelly, what a powerful song, the Just One theme song. And the one line, I got to tell you that I really like when he says, when you have everything to give and everything to live for, tomorrow's begun, change is bound to come. And when it's all said and done, all it takes is one. Wow, I got my hair's up on my arms. It's a good
great. I'm going to tell him you said so. Yeah, he's Josh is probably one of the sort of greatest guys out there. And my mother came to him and just said, could you write us a song? Because Josh is a brilliant songwriter, and he's a beautiful singer. He has a sort of unparalleled voice. And he was, the perfect guy to do this for us. And not only because he's so willing to help, but because he understands from the years of us talking about this and being so passionate about it, sort of what the message is, what we're trying to say, what we're trying to do. And, he really nailed it with that song. It's really powerful. With
your permission, we'll definitely put that link on the website so that we can get people all singing it, okay? That would be great. And, this is kind of a scary stat, Katherine. You want to help with the portions of the purchases to stop the killing of more than 10,000 pets each day. Each day. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. It's horrifying. And I just don't think I think if people knew, they would want to help. They would want to do what they could to help. And I think that the numbers are staggering, and it's not just a small problem at this point. But my mother and I feel really strongly that it's a solvable one, and especially we have a quote on our foundation website that is basically, and that is how change happens. One gesture, one person, one moment at a time. And that's from Libba Bray, the Sweet Far Thing. It's just a great quote because it's exactly our message. It doesn't take millions and millions of dollars. It doesn't take millions and millions of hours. It just takes one person to make one gesture. And if that gesture can be to purchase a collar that they're getting something out of that works for them and works for their pet, and the proceeds can help save one other pet somewhere, that's one pet saved. That matters. It makes a difference. And if everyone felt that way, we could solve this whole problem.
I salute you for that. So let's bring up our listeners to speed on your furry bunch at your home. I know we started talking about your very beloved Romeo.
He's wandering around. He likes to pace these days. He's 17, and that is really, he's like 110. In human years.
Is he making Betty White need to show a ID to go to a bar now? Is he?
Yeah, he's pretty up there. And at this point, he is, almost blind and deaf, and sort of, a bit of dementia has set in. But he looks for me everywhere, So I know this dog still takes comfort in my presence, and mine, of course, in his. And he's been, with me for all the major milestones in my adult life. So I'm very grateful to have had this friend in my life for as long as I've had him.
How did you come to get Romeo? What was it? Because miniature schnauzers they're not very quiet.
No, ma'am, they're not. I don't know. My mom rescued a miniature schnauzer when we lived in Connecticut and I was in high school. And then we all just sort of fell in love with the breed. And when I first moved to LA, I didn't know anybody. My mom and I had moved out there together, so we just kind of had each other, but I didn't have any friends. I didn't know anyone, and I wanted a dog. And so I found a breeder out near San Diego, and I purchased Romeo from him. And, as much as I discourage people from sort of doing that at this point, because we do have such a overpopulation problem in the shelters, and you can pretty much find any breed you want and rescue it. You don't have to purchase. I'll never regret that decision because I love this dog so much and he has loved me so much and been a great, great friend. And then from there, I got another miniature schnauzer because, again, obviously I really like the breed. Yes. And then I started rescuing because that's when I started, I guess, realizing, I was walking down the street in my neighborhood about 10 years ago, and there was a woman with these two beautiful black shepherd chow mixes that had been rescued from a backyard where they'd been chained up with no food and water. And I just fell in love with this dog, and she was my third dog.
Is this
And then it
Tambor?
just spiraled out of control. So that is Piper.
How old is Piper?
I think Piper is about 10 years old now.
Okay.
And then I rescued a dog that I had to put down last October. He was 9 when I rescued him, and a big dog, 116 pounds. He was a Shepherd Collie mix named Mojo, who was another just magnificent, wonderful, wonderful dog. And so when he passed, we wanted to rescue Shepherd in his honor. Mm-hmm. And there's an energy to Shepherds, I think, that we just really missed in our home when Mojo passed. That one Shepherd became 2.
See how it happens.
I talked my husband into 2. So that's Tambor and Flora, his sister. And Tambor is the dog in the photo on our Just One website.
Oh, it's a beautiful. I love the names. I mean, you didn't go with Fido and Fluffy. Good for you, Katherine.
I love, that's the fun part is, getting to name the dog and trying to find a name that fits their personalities and getting to know them well enough to pick the right name. But Tambor was Josh's dog. Josh picked Tambor and named him, and then I picked Flora and named her. I have no idea why I chose Flora. I just thought it sounded kind of
I like it. Now, are we going to see them in any of your movies coming up? I mean, are they getting their own doggy agents, or are they?
No, ma'am. They're not,
all right.
Not well trained enough for that. I wish they were that trained.
You've been in a lot of great movies, and you're producing now on television and all, but you're coming home in the door, and you've got your beautiful daughter and your husband, and then they got this puppy posse coming your way. Tell me what kind of joy they give you. What is it that just makes you feel like you got your feet on the floor again?
I think that the beauty of these animals in my life has it's probably far more significant than even, what I've meant to them. They are unconditionally loving. They're patient and compassionate and loyal. And they have no ego. They have no real agenda except to love you. And even, the sadness is when these animals love somebody who doesn't treat them well, but they still love them. These animals are just unconditional in that way. And, I would go to bed at night and pray that I would be more like them in these ways, that I would be more patient and loyal and unconditionally loving towards those in my life that deserve that. And, I come home, no one is more excited to see me than the dogs. My kids are like, hey, Mom, great to see you. One big hug. And then they're off to Naylie's off to watch SpongeBob and whatever. But
it's tough to compete with SpongeBob, don't you think? But yeah, I think yeah. Well, your mom too. I mean, we do want to do a special salute to your brother. I mean, he kind of inspired you and your mother, Nancy, and it sounded like he was a remarkable young man whose life was just ended too short. But what an inspiration that you're doing to keep his legacy alive.
Yeah, I think that was, really important to my mother for obvious reasons and to me as well. And, my brother was just egoless and agendaless. He was just a really good kid and cared so much about the voiceless and the innocent. And that was children and animals. And he just really cared and really couldn't stand for, the indignities put upon them. And my mother just felt, when we started developing the foundation, that she wanted to do something to honor Jason and to give him a legacy because he didn't live long enough to give himself one. So that was kind of the idea behind, naming it in his honor. And it is an inspiration to us every day, that we're doing this not only for the animals, but we're also doing it to honor somebody who didn't have the opportunity to really live his life.
But you grew up in a pet household, right? Back in, you were out in Connecticut,
oh, yeah.
I believe. Okay, so what kind of critters did you guys grow up with?
We had a black lab that when I was born, his name was Ben Davis. He was there from the moment I was born until I was 16 years old.
Wow.
And then we had this crazy mutt named Pippin. I don't know why my dad named the dogs after apples. That's what he was doing there. And and then
sounds
we
like
had
it, yeah.
Shadow and City. Yep. And then we had like parakeets and hamsters and lizards and I think at one point a rat. That wasn't mine, that was my brother's. But yeah, we always had a lot of animals.
Well, you're now with your daughter. Now, how old is she now?
Haley is 4. She just turned 4.
Oh, happy birthday. And I love how you devised her name. Tell the listeners how you created her name. You're good even with naming children. Look at that. Pets and children.
Thank you. I named her for my mother and sister. My mother's name is Nancy and my sister's middle name is Lee. So her given name is Nancy Lee Miyun Kelly. It's very like the Queen of England or something. And then just because it got confusing calling her Nancy, and I call my mother Nancy at times, we just shortened it to, or just combined it to Nayli.
I like it. Now, has she got the compassion for pets that's been in the family tree like you guys, and as well as your husband, Josh? What's her take with pets?
I think, what I think about kids is that they're sort of are innately compassionate. They kind of just are born that way. They have it in them. And I think our job as parents is to foster and encourage that compassion and not discourage or stamp it out. And so, as soon as, Nayli was old enough to understand, we've been teaching her to treat the animals with respect and to be gentle with them and to be cautious because they're still animals.
Right.
And we don't leave them alone with the kids and stuff because these animals are so important to me. They're my family, but I would never want to put them or my kids at risk, So you have to always be careful and cautious and aware, and we've tried to teach her that. And these dogs were pretty much her best friends for a long time. I didn't really have friends with kids, so she didn't have a lot of playmates, and she wasn't in school yet. And so She played with the dogs. She played Tea Party and Dress Up and everything else with the dogs. We have photos. It's hilarious.
That's pretty cool to watch that as a mom. I bet you have some fun photos and videos of them with their tea party.
We do. It's hilarious. And the dogs just look at you like, please rescue me from this. But they just lay there and take it because they are all, and that's another wonderful thing about these dogs is they're so protective of the kids and they're so loving towards them. And that's something I find interesting too is, when you because we just had a baby, we have an 8-month-old now, Adelaide, and when we brought her into the house, she was just 5 days old and it was kind of scary because she's such a tiny little thing and some of them are big dogs. And so, we wanted to make sure the dogs knew this is not a toy, this is not another critter to chase or anything like that. So, we spent a lot of time holding the baby and sitting near the dog so that they could smell her and stuff, and they've become so protective of her. If she cries, they come running. They just want to know, why is she crying? What have you done wrong? So
this is a good point you could bring out to other moms because it does sadden me when I hear people say, well, we have to get rid of the pets now because we have a newborn, but you're a living testament that you can make it work done the right way.
Oh, of course. And we're the adults here. They're the innocents.
Right.
So it's our job to protect both, to protect the innocents. And these animals can't speak for themselves and they have their own natures, and you want to obviously be sure that the animals and pets you have in your home are of sort of calm and people-friendly natures. But most dogs are, unless they've been through something really traumatic or been trained to be aggressive. And, you just have to be cautious and aware. It's our job to be diligent to protect, our children and our pets. Because if something were to happen and, my animals were to do something, they're going to suffer too. Because they're going to, like how many stories have you heard about people whose dog got off a leash and attacked someone or bit someone that came running at them and that frightened them, and then the dog gets put down because,
well, I have a feeling in the Heigl household, there's a lot of love and kindness around, and there's a lot of dogs with happy grins on their faces. I've always wanted to ask this. You look so beautiful, on the runway and all this. How do you hide the dog hair when you're going to a big event and you had to say goodbye to one of your pups or something? What's a secret you can share with our listeners?
Well, one, when I get the dress on, I try to avoid the dogs.
Okay, good luck.
But if I can't avoid the dogs and they, jump on me before I leave, there's those sticky rollies. Those things are a godsend. And I just recently, up in Utah, I wear like black leggings a lot, and I look like, if I run out to the store or something, I literally look like I'm sprouting fur. So sometimes you just have to, when I'm not in public and I'm not being photographed, I just embrace it. There's nothing I can do, just covered in dog hair.
Well, we're speaking with Katherine Heigl. This has been great. I want people to please go. This is an act where one single action can make a powerful difference. And Katherine and her mother, Nancy, have created the Just1Pet.com site, and it's all part of the Jason Heigl Foundation.org. And I am giving you pause and applause because we have a lot of guests on our shows, but everything you've said has been for the kindness of others, especially animals. So I think that prayer you were doing every night, it's taken hold, Katherine.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. And I really, really am so grateful to be on the show and to be able to talk about this to your big audience, because the more people who get to be a part of it and hear the message, the more we're going to really make a difference. And so thank you so much for having me.
Is there anything on the site that you love the best? Any accessory that you...
You know what? I actually love they have these really cool burnout shirts. I don't know why they call them burnout shirts, but
okay.
They're like really thin cotton material with a little hoodie, and it's got the little Just One logo that we're so proud of because we think it's so clever. And they're just super comfortable. It's my coziest, most, hangout shirt.
I'm making this announcement on the air. I'm getting one of those because I saw it too. I know who would know that Arden Moore and Katherine Heigl would have the same fashion sense. I mean, I know. I'm sure it's going to be on page 6. I don't know what to tell you, but I love those. I love those too. And before you go, we did ask, when we have special guests like you and like the Betty Whites, we ask if you would be so kind as to finish the show with one last message you want to give to our pet pals out there.
The message is that just one person can make a big difference in just one animal's life, and that matters, and that they can take comfort in knowing that they've done something right for an innocent and voiceless being that needs that support. And the smallest things matter, even just donating $1 or $2 to your local shelters, or an old dog bed that you don't need anymore, or buying just one collar and helping us fund programs that save animals' lives.
Well done. I just gave you the Arden Academy Award for great.
Thank you.
Hey, have a great time with your family, the 2- and 4-leggers. And I just am delighted you could be on this. But more importantly, we're going to do a lot of shout out about the Just One Pet campaign on Pet Life Radio, on my website, and more. And you're doing a good job, Katherine.
Well, thank you so much.
All right, all you listeners, you've heard it straight from the mouth of Katherine Heigl. You got to check out the Just1Pet.com site. You can make a difference. One person, one pet, one purpose. So you guys check it out. But we've got another special guest on this show. So everybody, I want you to please sit and stay. We'll be right back after we take this commercial break.
Time for a walk on the red carpet, of course. Oh Behave will be back in a flash right after these messages.
It's DesignerPetSweaters.com. Hand-knitted designer sweaters for your precious pup or cool cat. Beautiful couture patterns for your pets, including custom-knitted formal wear, casual wear, yachting, and even sports-themed. Many designer pet sweaters include feathered tammy hats, top hats, and a lot of sparkle. Each sweater includes leg loops, front paw sleeves, and leash opening. Visit DesignerPetSweaters.com to order your 4-legged fashions today. Your pets will stay warm for the winter and be runway ready. Large or small, we fit them all. DesignerPetSweaters.com.
Hi, I'm Dana Humphrey, the founder of Whitegate PR. We have been specializing in PR and marketing in the pet industry for over 10 years. If you have a pet product or service you would like to promote, give us a call. We can help create awareness for your brand on TV, radio, magazines, newspapers, and blogs. Feel free to reach me directly at 619-414-9307 or learn more on our website at whitegatepr.com or follow us on Facebook.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Hey everybody, I'm Rachel Ray, and you're listening to Oh Behave with Arden Moore on Pet Life Radio.
We're back from the lot. Just checked the paper and we had a record showing at the box. The letterbox, that is. Now back to Oh Behave. Here's Arden.
Welcome back to the O Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Next up, we have another person who is affiliated with the Heigl Foundation, and she is Jennifer Brent. She is the new executive director of the Heigl Foundation. And Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
I was checking out your bio. I was sniffing around the sites, and you come from a pretty impressive background in helping pets. And I was hoping you could share with our listeners, coming from Found Animals Foundation, pets have been part of your life forever, right?
Well, I started volunteering about 17 years ago in Irvine, and really that's where I started. I realized at that time the tremendous problem that there was with homeless pets. And 17 years ago, we were in a very different place than we are now in the United States. But even then, we were faced with a lot of challenges, and it opened my eyes to the fact that, well, my pets were being loved and coddled and completely spoiled. There were a lot of pets that didn't have those kind of disadvantages and that pets every day are being euthanized because they don't have good homes. So it really just sparked a passion in me, and I've been very fortunate to be able to continue with that throughout the rest of my career to this point.
So are you a California girl?
No, actually, I'm from North Carolina, and I came out here when I got married, so... yeah.
Okay. Well, we have many things in common. I'm putting Irvine on the checklist because when I moved to California about 12 years ago, I temporarily lived in an apartment in Irvine before I bought a home in the San Diego area. But I know the Irvine area quite well and the shelter and all that. So we have Kevin Bacon, 6 Degrees, working here, Jennifer.
Well, it's a great facility. If anywhere will make you want to work with animals, that place will. They have a very, very well-run shelter there, and they do everything that they possibly can to help find them home.
What I like also about you is that you're there for all pets, even the ones that bark and purr. So on your background, you did work in Downey, I guess, for the Cat Adoption Center?
I did. We developed that when I was still at the Found Animals Foundation, and the Cat Adoption Center was built in an association to SEACA, which is the Southeast Area Animal Control Authority, and they have a huge homeless cat problem. We built the Cat Adoption Center there, and it was really to help bring attention to the cats. I think a lot of people, when they think of the shelter, they think of, in the past, the shelter really developed as a pound, to keep people safe and to protect them from rabies, and they don't think necessarily of going there to get a cat. Everybody has a neighbor who has kittens, right, in the springtime. So we developed the Cat Adoption Center to bring attention to them and the fact that they are in shelters and they do need homes. And so it was really exciting. And I just recently got a cat, and so I am now full into the cat mode. My dogs are not so happy about it, but the cat seems thrilled.
The cats are going, meowvelous, Jennifer. I have a cat named Zeke, who is a rescue, and someone sadly had tried to skin her with a knife, and she got rescued by kind people, and she is now the only cat in the Pet Tech Pet First Aid program in the entire country. This cat will let you put a towel wrapper, check her pulse, do everything for deli meat turkey. And so she is going around the country with me as going from abused to ambassador cat. So I hope one day you'll get to meet Zeke. I'll have to send you some information, but she's hung out with Jackson Galaxy, the one cat.
Jackson, I know him personally. He's fantastic.
Yeah, he's a bud of mine. He's been on the show, and he said, Arden, this isn't a cat from hell. This is a cat from heaven. I said, well, I thought you might deserve one. And then, so she's hung out with a lot of stars, but it hasn't gone to her head or anything. But I think it's important to do shout-outs to cats, too. How did you hook up with Nancy and Katherine Heigl? I mean, were you sharing lattes together someday?
Oh, gosh, I wish. My life isn't nearly that glamorous. I actually was friends and had worked with Kathy Davis, who was the former executive director of the Heigl Foundation, when she was the interim general manager at Los Angeles Animal Services, so the city of Los Angeles. And she had told me that she was going to be moving out of the area for family reasons, and I said, gosh, this seems like a great opportunity for me. I have loved working at the Found Animals Foundation and have nothing but great things to say about them, and the Heigl Foundation would be really exciting. So I was able to fill in right about 3 months after Kathy had left, and absolutely thrilled to be there. Just yesterday marked my 1 month anniversary, and it's a so it's a really exciting place to be. A lot of dynamic things going on, and I'm absolutely excited to be a part of the transports that we're doing right now to bring animals from some of the highest euthanasia shelters in Los Angeles County to no-kill shelters. We've been working in the past since 2008, transporting animals mainly by car, but this is some of the first ones we're doing by plane, and we're bringing them to the North Shore Animal League out in New York, where they, believe it or not, need chihuahuas and are finding them great homes. So we're absolutely tickled pink to be able to be a part of that organization's transport.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about that, because years ago I was with Pet Airways, and we worked with the LA folks, and we were actually flying chihuahuas to Denver and big dogs to LA, because it is kind of thing, it's a purse my ride attitude in LA, but a lot of people in other parts of the country want these little dogs, and we seem to have too many.
Yeah, it's amazing. When you go into the shelter, there is a huge variety of animals. That being said, you'll see a lot of pit bulls and you'll see a lot of chihuahuas. And while it might seem here that we're inundated with chihuahuas if you go to a shelter, if you go to one on the East Coast or you go to one in the Pacific Northwest, you'll find that they don't have very many small dogs. So we're sort of doing a reallocation and being able to send some of those smaller dogs out to the East Coast where they can find loving homes in a week, where they might spend months languishing in a shelter on the West Coast and might not actually find homes ever. So we have worked with the North Shore Animal Shelter, which is a really exciting no-kill facility in New York. And last week we transported 63 dogs. And today, actually, after I get off the phone with you, I'm going to be heading down to the airport and packing their little backpacks and getting them on a red-eye to take them another 30 dogs over to New York. We're really filling a hole that exists in the East Coast and at the same time helping to alleviate some of the overcrowding that's going on in Los Angeles and helping to find some of those animals homes.
Now, too bad you couldn't get on the plane and give the announcement, please, pets, put your tray tables in the upright position.
Exactly. Well, we're very fortunate to be sponsored by Rachel Ray's Nutrish, and each of the dogs go with a little bag of Nutrish taped to their kennels, so just in case they have a long layover, they have a snack.
Oh, yeah, Rachel's been on our show. I scared her at first because I said, oh, man, I have to talk to you about what I think about pit bulls. And there was like this dead air time, and she says, yes? And I said, I have a name for pit bulls. And she said, yeah? I said, I call them meaty cheeks, because when they grin, they have that big grin. I'm a big fan of pits. So all of a sudden you could just feel the air just let out of her belly.
Yeah. It's one of those things that if you're at the shelter enough and you meet, it really is the owner. I've seen nasty little Shih Tzus and some of the most loving pit bulls or not very nice labs and really sweet mastiffs, and it has to do with their reputation. They get a negative connotation, and unfortunately, if you get a nip from a Lhasa and you get a nip from a pit bull, people interpret them in a very different way, but it all has to do with the owner. It all has to do, as well how they're raised.
Well, before we bid adieu, you are the new lady in charge of the Heigl Foundation for Pets. Tell us how we can find out more about it, and what's a wish you want to share for all the pets to get them off on the right paw for 2013?
Oh, wow. Well, definitely visit our website. It's jasonheiglfoundation.org, and you can also like us on Facebook and get updated on all the new information, and certainly visit Just1Pet.com to check out our new line of leashes and collars. All of the proceeds go to help the foundation. And what I would wish for dogs and cats for 2013 is for them to be able to find owners that love them as much as the pets love the owners.
Nice. I love that wish. That's a wish we all need to practice, listeners. And I want to again thank our special guest. We just spoke with Jennifer Brent and some actress named Katherine Heigl. I'm just teasing. You both have lived and walked the walk about being passionate for pets. Everybody dash over to the Just1Pet.com and the JasonHeiglFoundation.org, and you'll find out more on how you can make a difference. One person, one pet, one purpose. And until next time, I have to say, I want to give a shout out to my producer, Mark Winter. He deals with me each and every week. And my goal for 2013 is to practice the goodness that our pets give for us. And we've got to crack 1 million listeners. We've got over 800,000. So come on, folks, start telling your pet pals. So until next time, this is your flea-free host, Arden Moore, delivering just 2 words to all you 2, 3, and 4-leggers out there. Oh, behave.
Coast to coast and around the world, it's Oh Behave with Arden Moore. Find out why cats and dogs do the things they do, and get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get great tail-wagging pet tips and have a fur-flying fun time. Oh Behave with America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore. Every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.